At the Black Site tonight, we're going to talk about former Cincinnati wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh, who says that Shedeur Sanders will be cut by the Cleveland Browns. First, I would like for you to subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, but also comment on this video. Former Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh, who has friends in the Cleveland Browns organization, and he knows players within the Cleveland Browns organization. He is basically saying that Shedeur Sanders is going to get cut by the Cleveland Browns or released. He believes that they're going to go with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel as the quarterback. And he's going to be the odd man out when training camp is done. And I told you way back when Roger Goodell called the Cleveland Browns, asked them to do a favor and draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. Because these owners and those coaches and general managers had decided not to draft Shedeur Sanders. Even though, to me, he was the second best quarterback behind Cam Ward easily. He had the best throwing percentage. He was very accurate. He was good with the team, but they just didn't like his attitude because his father is Deion Sanders. They didn't want to bring the show to Cleveland or any other team. They didn't want to deal with Deion Sanders. So more than likely, with TJ Houshmandzadeh was having discussions with some of the players, and they had already felt that he was the odd man out. Plus, he had his driving incident. But we'll see what truly happens, because I don't trust Kevin Stefanski. He also got rid of Baker Mayfield and let him go, and now he's leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to playoff appearances. So they made a mistake then, and I think they made a mistake bringing in Kenny Pickett because he was ushered out of Pittsburgh, went to Philadelphia last year, and now he brings him in, and he thought he would possibly start for the Cleveland Browns, but it looked like they might be going with old man Flacco because I don't think Dillon Gabriel is ready to play quarterback, even though he's a favorite of Kevin Stefanski because he drafted him in the 3rd round. So he basically want to put his name and his reputation behind Dillon Gabriel to be the future quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. So what TJ Houshmandzadeh was basically saying is that Shedeur Sanders have an uphill battle just to make the roster. Hell, I don't even know if they even want him on a practice squad. And if he's on a practice squad, he's probably the 4th string quarterback. So what is he going to do on a practice squad? The 3rd string quarterback, second or 3rd string quarterback, usually run the op team during that week. So Shedeur won't have a place on the Cleveland Browns. And possibly not in the NFL. I know the Denver Broncos was talking about drafting him and having him as a backup quarterback. But what other team is possibly going to pick him up? Probably the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones would do a favor for Deion Sanders since they're good friends. But to see this young man slip from the highest level of college football to possibly not making the Cleveland Browns would be something catastrophic that nobody would even have thought of at the beginning of last year's college football season. People were talking about him as a Heisman Trophy candidate, the best quarterback in college football, and now to see him possibly as the 4th string quarterback going into training camp with the Cleveland Browns, and how much time is he going to get? He probably in the first, he's only 3 preseason games, and 1 training camp practice probably against another team, and you probably get the 4th quarter of the game, if that. So he's going to have limited time to show how good he is, and when he's in that limited time, he's going to be playing against other 3rd, 4th, and 5th stringers on the team. So it seems like Shedeur Sanders is in some serious trouble. And that's what TJ Houshmandzadeh was trying to say. He said they probably have already made their mind up. They did, their owner did them a favor, did Roger Goodell a favor for drafting him, because if he wasn't drafted, without, which I think he wasn't going to be, they said the Eagles would have possibly drafted him. But if they wouldn't have drafted him, it would have been a firestorm like you never saw before. They would have been calling for collusion and everything else, even though it was collusion. That's why Roger Goodell asked the Cleveland Browns owner to draft him, even though I don't believe the GM and the head coach, Kevin Stefanski, even wanted him on the roster. It doesn't matter how good Shedeur Sanders looks in camp. They don't want the Sanders family involved in their organization. And that was the whole thing. And I'm saying he did a poor interview with the New York Giants. He had an attitude. He was arrogant. They were saying he was a privileged kid. And all this has fallen on Shedeur Sanders' shoulder. And he's going to have a hard road. He's starting from the bottom right now. He's going to have to go into these training camps proving that he can make third string. And to me, I don't know how they can cut Dylan Gabriel. How you can carry 4 quarterbacks on a roster unless they cut Kenny Pickett, but they traded for Kenny Pickett. They want Joe Flacco as a backup, which he is a great backup. Any team would love to have Joe Flacco as a backup. But right now, TJ Houshmandzadeh has people in that organization who's giving them information. And I wouldn't be surprised if the information was true. That he will be released, he will be cut, and he will be let go. And people are maybe be shocked. It may be the best thing for him that some team picks him up, and puts him on a practice squad or puts him on the roster. I don't know. But this kid has taken a huge step back. And a lot of people are blaming his father, blaming what he did at Colorado, the way he acted. I don't know. But it seems like the owners, GMs, and the coaches had it out for Deion. They just didn't like him. A lot of the college coaches didn't like Deion, didn't like the program, didn't like what he was doing. And it seems like this is their revenge to go after his son, even though he's a talented quarterback. We're going to have to see what happens. I would love to hear your comments in the comments section. I want to thank you for listening to BLACKSITE. Hope you subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, but also share this video.